In every society, there's always a leader. And in every situation, there's one person who spearheads whatever happens. And in the same spirit, there is going to be one leader of this continent eventually. And there are multiple countries that stand the chance of becoming the one face or the one leader that leads Africa.
Hi, my kings and queens. Welcome back yet to another interesting, intriguing, and juicy, captivating episode. Guys, we are live and direct. I know most times you guys ask this question, why are you using the voiceover? See, you don't understand what it means, the struggle we go through here without electricity most times. So if I say I want to wait until electricity is stable and available, I might not make videos. And for me to be productive, active, and consistent, I need to show up any which way whatsoever. So forgive my manners, pardon me. So it's your girl Tando back on your screen, like I never left, with a lot of energy, guys. I don't know if it's because this is my birth month, but naturally I know I'm a very vibrant, happy spirited soul ever. I know, and that's why I tell you, if I'm happy, I'm happy. If I'm not happy, you would know it for sure. And yes, with that, we are back at it again, like we never left, one-on-one, eyeball to eyeball, looking at you exactly right there on your screen. Tell me how many people missed seeing me. Let me know in your comments, and I do appreciate your love, your comment, your sweet words. Oh my god, like they are out of this world. They are mind-blowing. Yes, guys, let me not bore you so much. Let's just quickly delve into what we are here for today. But before then, do not forget to hit on the like button, at least for seeing me. Like, share, and subscribe. Exactly. And with that being said, let's delve into it. Now, before you might want to say, I know, as a South African, you are not there on the faces of people, in the businesses of others. You are only focused, minding your business and doing your thing. But let me tell you something, darling. You see, in as much as you are minding your business, when you are being called upon, summoned, or asked questions, you definitely have the responsibility to either respond or ignore. And today you have been summoned. We have been summoned, and not for the wrong reasons, but for conversations that will actually help to improve us as different countries in Africa. And for today, we are definitely going to take a look at this conversation or topic of interest. It's not really to demean, demote, demarcate anyone, any citizen, any country, but at least having rare, matured conversations that will definitely expose us to a lot of things, educate, enlighten, and entertain us at the end of the day. So here will be me analyzing and reacting to a video of a Ghanaian who took it upon himself. I've been so much in love with this guy since ever I stumbled on his channel, on how blunt and truthful he is with his analysis, reactions, and exposition. Very, very not sentimental, emotional, and biased. Yes, he's neither here nor there, very objective, and I love that about him. I've been putting him up on my other channel, and guys, so far I like the way he presents his opinions. Yes, and I want to say this is definitely going to hit us in a different way, but regardless, let's pay attention to what he has to say, because this is not for me the context of who is the giant or not, because of a truth, let me clear the air, there is no country called giants. Like, there is literally no country called giants. The reason why most times I would even say South Africa is the mother of Africa is because literally there are so many things from my own opinion and perspective that I see, understand, and perceive about the country South Africa that they present, they possess, and they have for the longest time established with other countries both in Africa and outside Africa, that has given me this reason to say that they have the qualities, yes, to say that they are the mother, because a mother nurtures, a mother tolerates, a mother grooms, a mother loves, a mother cares, a mother does literally everything for her children without emotions, without bitterness, without pain, without grudges. And that's why we are here to say yes. For these points that have been made between Nigeria and South Africa, the major and key points that should be noted: who is well positioned, for me, that's the way I want to put it, out there in the map in the continent of Africa. Is it Nigeria or Ghana? This guy stated about 3 points, which we will take bit by bit. And in the course of that, I'm definitely going to infuse clips to back the points up from my own knowledge and understanding. Now, the first phase of it, where he said,
in every society, there's always a leader. And in every situation, there's one person who spearheads whatever happens. And in the same spirit, there is going to be one leader of this continent eventually. And there are multiple countries that stand the chance of becoming the one face or the one leader that leads Africa into our future. And when I speak of multiple nations, I really mean it. There are countries that, by reason of their history and what they have done on the continent over the years, stand the chance of actually being recognized as one of the leaders of this great African continent. But today, I'm going to narrow it down to two African greats. And those are South Africa and Nigeria. I'm going to do a very quick comparison on these two countries. I'm going to compare these two countries based on 3 different indicators, and I hope you bear with me. And for those who have been a part of my podcast, you can attest to the fact that I am objective, I give credit where it's due, and I speak on real issues and not speculative. And I believe based on that, you stick with me throughout the entire podcast to the end. So these are the three criteria I'm going to use to do the comparison. The first one is the economy. The second is military power. And then the third one is international influence. And I'll be doing a lot of reading today, so please bear with me. So let's get it going. Under economy, which is the first one, we are looking at four key indicators. We are looking at population, we are looking at level of industrialization, we are talking of manufacturing, banking, and even education. We are also looking at the purchasing power of the country, and finally, the human and infrastructure development. And right off the bat, these are the populations of these two great nations. Nigeria is 223 million people as compared to nearly 60 million people in South Africa. Now, even though the population size is very big, which Nigeria is almost like 4 times the size of South African population, South Africa surprisingly has more lands than Nigeria. Look at the statistics here. So South Africa has a land size of about 1,022,000 kilometers squared of land as compared to Nigeria's land size of about 923,000 kilometers of land. So you just oppose these estimates of population sizes for these two countries in 223 million for Nigeria and nearly 60 million people for South Africa, and then you look at the poverty ratio for these two countries, and surprisingly they are almost identical. Let me read this from here. It is estimated that over 71 million people live in extreme poverty in Nigeria, a number that is way above the entire population in South Africa. Meanwhile, in South Africa, it's also estimated that about 55% of the population, which is over 30 million people, live below the poverty line. But what is super ironic about these two countries is this. These two countries are the same countries that possesses a lot of millionaires and even billionaires on this continent. But that doesn't trigger to the majority of the people. That is what I'm trying to put across. But their poverty ratios are almost identical in terms of percentages and not the numbers per se. But then you turn to look at the purchasing power parity, which is PPP for these two countries, and you find out that South Africa is actually below Nigeria on this. Nigeria leads with about $1.3 billion as compared to SA's PPP, which is around $990 million. Now, under industrialization, SA companies are by far dominating in the top 10 companies in all of Africa. If you take a look at the list of the 10 most valuable or prestigious companies in Africa, at least 7 or 8 of them are from South Africa, and that is without argument. And similar statistics cuts across industries such as manufacturing, banking, universities, and even across the service providers on this continent. Now, if you take a step down to look at the human and infrastructure development between these two countries, you have to look at a UN report for Africa. And in that UN report, SA is way above the curve. It has 0.713 score as against Nigeria's 0.535. SA is listed as one of the most advanced countries in Africa, whereas Nigeria is not in the top 10. And in terms of development, SA is listed as the 7th most developed country in Africa, and Nigeria doesn't crack the top 10. So clearly, if you look at the economies of these two great nations, even though Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa, South Africa actually leads in most of the key indicators, and this is a fact. And now,
okay, I had to hold up here. Now, why I had to hold it here? Let's take a look at what he had to sum it up with, then we'll come back to conclude.
And now the next thing we have to look at is their military power. And under this is 4 key indicators that we have to take a close look at. The first one being their military budget. Number 2 is number of active troops. Number 3 is military equipment. And then the 4th one is military readiness. If you visit military.africa right now, they have done a pretty decent job by providing us reasons to back their list of the top 10 militaries in Africa under the same 4 criteria. And I'm going to take you through that. On that list, they have Egypt and Algeria as number 1 and number 2, and South Africa and Nigeria on number 3 and number 4 positions respectively. Let's take a closer look on these two nations that we are focused on. South Africa spends $4.3 billion yearly on their military, which has active troops of about 78,000 men and women on the ground. Nigeria spends about $2.4 billion on its active troops of about 120,000 men and women. So if you look at the comparison at this point, it appears Nigeria has more active troops on the ground as compared to South Africa. But yet, South Africa spends more on their military as compared to the amount Nigeria spends on their military. Both militaries have access to modern military equipment, including fighter jets, tanks, but only 3 countries on this continent, and I repeat, only 3 countries in Africa actually have submarines. And these are the countries: Egypt, Algeria, and South Africa. The question you may ask is, how is submarines important? Well, this is what I'll say to you. They deploy highly lethal weapons on the sea. So they basically protect your sea coast from all forms of attacks coming on the sea. So since both of these countries have sea lines, it is very important that they have some form of protection on their seas. And between the two of them, South Africa has submarines and Nigeria has none. Now, in terms of readiness of their military, you have to look at logistics, training, and how battle tested they are. And on military.africa, they actually put South Africa in number 2 position and Nigeria on the 4th on their list. Both countries have engaged in series of conflicts or wars over the years, whether internally or against terrorist groups or militias or externals in terms of peacekeeping. So both countries are battle ready, but one of them is more battle ready than the other, and that will go for South Africa. So again, in terms of military power, we have to give it to South Africa, and that will be because of the military budget that they have, their readiness towards war, their submarines, and all the other logistics that they have at their disposal. Now, the third thing on the list, which is the final thing that we actually have on this list, is their international influence. Now, in looking at that aspect, there are so many things that you have to take into consideration. But one key thing that fascinated me is the assessment of the African country most traveled to and the African country most traveled from. And these two are equally important. I'm going to break it down for you. Travel to will be the country that is most visited on the African continent, and most traveled from will be the African country that has actually had people leaving their country and immigrating to another country. And I'm going to tell you why both of these situations are equally important. You remember the Europeans for more than 400 years had to travel to Africa, and what were they searching for? They were looking for resources to back up all their development projects in Europe. And it's the same thing. I see any African traveling from the coast of Africa to any part of the world as being in the same position of looking for resources to better their homes. So in that respect, both are important. The people traveling to your country and people traveling outside of your country, it equally either brings revenue or other forms of value to your country, including educational and experiential values. And here South Africa tops the list of the African country most visited or most traveled to, and Nigeria tops on the list as the African country most traveled from or most immigrated from to other countries, and they are equally good. And now let me ask you this question. Do you know the most influential country in Africa in 2023? Take a wild guess. In my mind, I thought it was Nigeria, but if you look at major websites and the lists that they have, the first country on most of these websites for the most influential country in Africa 2023 is actually South Africa. And number 2 is still not Nigeria, it's Egypt. And that caught me surprised. However, Nigeria has made a lot of strides in the last 20 years, especially in terms of their music, their sports, and movies. And I'm going to give you a certain statistic here. In the film industry, okay, Nollywood of Nigeria is by far the leader with an annual revenue of no less than $15.32 million. And SA is 5th on the list. Nigerian music industry is equally dominating with the Afro beats. And one way you can measure this is to look at all the major social media platforms and look at the views or the downloads that have gone on over the last 1 year. For instance, if you take a look at YouTube right now, most of the videos that has clocked more than 500 million views are usually Nigerian music videos or Nigerian movies, with few instances that we have South African music that has clocked more than such a figure on social media. And in sports right now, football, which is the opium of the African youth, FIFA has SA ranked number 12, whereas Nigeria is ranked number 6 right now. And if you look at the most valuable league on the African continent, the top 10, you actually find at least 2 South African football clubs, and you didn't find 1 Nigerian club on that list. SA is more developed in terms of other sports outside of football. And think about this, for a country to be the only African country to host the World Cup, to be a member of the BRICS and the G20 is a recognition of the country's economic and political relevance. But is that enough in itself to make South Africa the leader of the African continent? I need you to give me your opinion to that in the comment section below. So all in all, without any biasness, we can conclude that South Africa actually dominates in all 3 categories, with Nigeria following closely in some indicators, but with a wide gap in others. So what do you think? Was it a fair analysis? Did it include what you expected me to include? Whatever the situation is, please do me that favor. Leave it in the comment section below.
All right, now from the look of things, from the analysis, if you look at it where you mentioned the sports, music, entertainment, the military, name it, I think at the end of the day, the points are very clear and open for each and every one of us based on experience, based on long time observation. Yes, for any country whatsoever or whomsoever watching to be able to ascertain, to attest to the fact that yes, there are some level and atom of truth based on what he has said, non-biased, non-sentimental, yes, just the way it is. And I concur to the point that where he really emphasized on the area of Nigeria and their music industry, even though my brother Chimdi will want to say most times Nigeria copy, and I know But copying and making it look like their original craft that has brought them where they are today, it's something that I would say credit to them, but they should always learn to give credit to their source. Exactly, because South Africa, like I will always say, has been the mother and will always be the mother that most countries resort to, particularly my country, Nigeria. We have Zimbabwe, we have a lot of countries in South Africa that South Africa has nurtured and sought a lot. And I like the fact that most of you will even want to say you are not in competition with any country. That's one thing you people owe and have me to give you that maximum respect, right? Because at the end of the day, when you are focused, you are not in competition or rivalry to say you want to be the biggest and all whatnot. It makes you more authentic and genuine, and definitely more focused to pursue and achieve your goals, your dream, your aspirations as a country and as a people. And that's one thing that caught my interest about South Africans. But on the other hand, or the contrary, to throw more light on what this young man had said, you will see that a country who is always there, always out there, all over, have little to no focus, yes, and direction as to where they are headed and what they want to achieve at the long run. But for the best and the few of them that has really picked a thing or two from South Africa and other countries from as Nigerians, learned and what replicated in different ways that has really put Nigeria in the map where they are today, it's a credit to them. Let me not lie. But please, at the end of the day, I will sum it up by saying that in Africa, South Africa is well placed, well positioned, well focused, you get my point, than the country Nigeria. Not just for this fact alone, but from my point that I have stated here for the longest time. Do your research, you will know that this is true and this is fact. And for the rest of it, I would say well done to South Africa. And yes, there are still more rooms for Nigeria to wake up and improve based on what we have cited on their loopholes, their laxity and their flaws, challenges, crises, yes, that they are having. I know, like I will always say, no country is perfect. We are all striving to be perfect, right? But if Nigeria focuses more light on them, yes, by looking inwardly, what are their issues, their challenges, just like I have always put out here, without mixing words, without hiding, these are our challenges. I don't know how to pretend, I don't know how to cry and smile at the same time. That's why when I'm happy, I'm happy. When I'm unhappy, I'm unhappy. And guys, that is it, guys. Well done to South Africa for this wonderful achievement and milestones. I know it took you a lot to get here, from the time of your forefathers, in the person of Nelson Mandela and the likes of others. It is definitely worth talking and commending. Well done, well done. And guys, thank you for all your love and your support. Even in my last video where I talked about Cape Town City, somebody did mention that, yes, why is it that other creative put account details for support and all whatnot? And I laughed because, guys, I don't know, personally, it's not in my nature to ask for help. I don't know why. I don't know how to ask for help. Most times I believe I can make do with what I have, save up, plan and achieve whatever I want to achieve. But on the contrary, I know that there are some of you as well who really want to support my channel, because guys, let me tell us, you see, the revenue on this channel is discouraging. I've been hearing others say it, but I didn't believe it. But if you are not somebody who is passionate about your craft and you are not here for just the money alone, even though you need money to buy data, you know, to run and fund your channel, it will definitely make you want to give up. But because anything I set out my mind to do, I do it and do it well, guys. Sorry if this video is too long, but I just had to put this here. So if you are interested and touched for now to support my channel, you can use the thanks button, even though I know that the thanks button is definitely going partly to YouTube. But for now, putting account details to me seems so weird. It's weird. But if you still insist you want to reach out to me directly, let me know in the comment section. I would definitely talk to you outside YouTube, right? And that is it. But for now, I still and do appreciate what you do here for me. At least engaging on my video, liking, sharing, commenting is more than enough for me, that I do not take for granted, right? Exactly. And that is what it is for today, because guys, I know we've talked. So let me know what you think in the comment section. And yes, if you are yet to hit on the like button, kindly do so. Like, share and subscribe. Don't make this your last. And keeping it real, happy, safe and blessed until I will see you in my next one. But for now, do have a lovely, a blessed, a peaceful, a happy and a successful day out there. Also, your girl Tango. Let me cover my eyes for you to see me. How do I look? How do I look? Until I, your girl Tango, aka Victoria Chiri. I'm gonna see you in my next one. But for now, do have a lovely, a blessed, a productive, a happy, a blissful and a successful day out there. Ciao, ciao. Mwah, mwah, mwah.